You know that feeling where you see something you want, you're thinking about it, you're like, should I? And you look at your bank and you look at your wallet and they're like, don't do it. I don't know if it's been just being home all year or what, but I feel like this year was particularly rough for not buying things. I spent far too much money this year, just in general, and there's still so much I want to get. So much. When I look at my year and I realize that was a terrible purchase, or actually I'm really glad I got this one. But that's what we're doing today. I'm gonna share with you the top 5 worst money mistakes as far as purchasing decisions I've made this year, and the 5 best, and a few honorable mentions in the middle. And before I dive into my picks, if you're looking for your best 5 items of the year, you could always add the shirt. I made these, I drew these as my spline shirt, and I'll have a link to it below. Also, the comfiest hoodie comes in multiple colors for the shirts and the hoodie. Splines, for that understated animation apparel that we so desperately need. The shirts and the sweatshirts, as well as everything else in the rest of this video, will be linked down below. Even the stuff that's not the great purchases, because maybe it wasn't a good idea for me, maybe you might actually like it. So everything will be linked below. And in case you're new here, hi, I'm Sir Wade. I do a ton of animation stuff here on the channel. So if you enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button. You can always unsubscribe and change mine later. Let's dive in. Let's leave with some positivity. The 5 best items that I picked up this year. The first one's one I use every day, my desk. If you watched my studio tour video, you may have seen that I had a terrible non-ergonomic desk setup that actually caused me physical pain daily. So switching to a standing desk, mine is from Uplift Desk, has been a game changer. It's a lot healthier. I don't have as many aches and pains. I have a lot more energy throughout the day, and I'm way more productive. But with all the sitting and sedentary activity I've had this year, not really going to events or walking around or doing a whole lot, this has been a really good upgrade, and I'm very, very glad that I went to a standing desk. Good purchase number 2 is actually a little bit of a stretch. It's the move. I actually moved from LA to Austin, Texas. So I moved out of California. That's where I'm from. I grew up in California. I've always been around the Southern California area. And we moved to Austin in the last couple of months. And it has been actually fantastic. We moved partially because of the whole COVID thing. Like, we can't really do much in LA. All the benefits of being there, and as expensive as it is, considering I work from home, I work for myself as my own business, we were paying a ton of money for very little return on being there. So moving to Austin, we literally doubled our square footage and halved our rent. Not an exaggeration. Thing number 3 are actually my wireless headphones. So these are the SteelSeries Arctis Pro Wireless. They're wireless, they have absolutely no lag, they're super comfy. I usually don't like wearing headphones for long periods of time, but these are really nice. They have this little, what do you call this, fabric thing in the middle. So it's not the hard metal sitting on top of your head like so many of my headphones have, just like they press in after a few hours. These, you have a cloth thing on your head, and this just keeps the shape. And the other thing I really like is they come with the battery inside, but they come with a spare battery inside the base station. So if you're listening to this and you hear the little beep beep, low battery, you just pop this out, swap it into the base, take the other one fully charged out, put it in, and you can keep going. You never have to like plug in your headset and then like stay really close to the computer because you're plugged in because it ran out. Not an issue. Love these headphones. I also bought this cheap little thing on Amazon that I use just to kind of, super nice. Thing number 4 cost a lot, but we actually didn't have to pay that much for it. I'll get into why in a minute. This 86-inch LG TV. 5 years ago, I worked at Best Buy, and while I was there, right before I left and ultimately got hired to DreamWorks, I bought a TV. And I bought it, I had some discounts and stuff for being an employee, but I bought my TV and I bought the 5-year warranty on that TV. Now, through a really crazy turn of events, literally like 2 months before my 5-year warranty ended, we were at our last apartment before we moved here. We had this weird issue where a toaster caused one of the outlets in our kitchen to not work or something. So we had one of the building maintenance staff come in to see if he could figure out like, hey, like, do we need to replace the outlet? But I specifically was like, hey, can you only turn off the kitchen and not anything else? Because I have like, desktop computer, Jess was working in the other room, like we needed the Wi-Fi to stay on. I don't want him just flipping breakers because that's just not good. And he did not listen to me. He just started flipping breakers, turning things off, and he literally fried the TV. Like, I kid you not, he literally was just flipping a breaker back and forth without even checking to see what it was doing. I don't know what this guy was thinking, but either way, he shorted out the TV. Bruh. So through a whole process of getting the maintenance involved, the management, and blah, 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 we ended up getting a little bit of a credit for our TV, rightfully, because they broke our TV. But lucky for me, I also had a 5-year warranty on the TV that included like electrical surges and stuff. Ultimately, long story short, we got this TV for not a whole lot out of pocket because we had some credit from our building breaking it, and we had the warranty of the TV giving us, close to similar value converted, whatever. Hopefully you stuck with me through that, but warranties are great. So technically that was a good purchase of 2015, But the good purchase of 2020 was this new TV. I'm very, very happy with it. Now, my final favorite purchase of the year is kind of a collection of things, all different Elgato products I've gotten. The main one that I wanted to talk about was the Camlink. It's the little HDMI to USB adapter that allows me to use this camera as my webcam. So if I'm in a Zoom meeting or if I'm on stream and all that stuff, the camera quality is super nice and I can use my background and it's great. I basically have all the Elgato stuff. I've got this, I've got the key lights, I have the 4K capture card and the 1080 capture card in each of my two computers because I have a 2 PC setup. If you're curious about like what the heck that's all about, the Studio Tour video actually talks about why and how and whatever. I use a lot of it while I'm streaming and while I'm making videos, but I actually use a lot of it while I'm animating. The lights would be a little overkill. The green screen I picked up would not be super useful for just doing work, sure, but the Stream Deck's actually really great for putting a whole bunch of different hotkeys, Animbot stuff in Maya, or different things in Blender that if I don't remember what the key combinations are, I can push them because they have a screen and I can actually just assign easy visual identifiers to know what I'm doing very quickly. But both for productivity and for content creation, a lot of the Elgato stuff has been super useful. Now, before we go to the worst 5 things I purchased in 2020, a few honorable mentions of things that I did enjoy, but for one reason or another, they didn't make the top 5 list. Either they were close or I actually didn't pay for them. For example, my Onewheel. I actually got a Onewheel XR, which I've been looking at for years, but I didn't buy it because I was the winner of the How Ridiculous Onewheel sponsorship giveaway. I watch all their videos. It's one of my favorite channels to just watch as they drop stuff. It's great. Highly recommend. I'll put a link to their channel because it's just good fun. But they did a video with Onewheel and one person randomly in the comments was going to win. So I put a comment down there. I also bought a shirt from their store on the same day. So, you know, good karma came around and I ended up winning the Onewheel, which is also how I fractured my arm. In case you didn't know, my arm's currently not broken, but it's fractured and messed up and it's on my TikTok. So if you want to see what happened, head over to my TikTok. But I love that thing and I'm super, super happy with it. And I would highly recommend a Onewheel to anyone who's thinking about it. Honorable mention number 2 is my RTX 3090. The reason that didn't make it into top 5 is because again, NVIDIA sent that to me to make the review video and I'm actually gonna be making a few more videos about it coming soon. So if you're curious about the new graphics cards and whether it's worth upgrading in your computer, that's coming in the next couple of weeks. 2 more quick ones. One are actually these blue light glasses. They look kind of funny. Would recommend. Don't get like the $5 ones on Amazon. I tried them, they don't work. It should actually make things like, you should see it cancel the blues. We should have like yellow. Look, see that? You should see a difference. If you get headaches, this should hopefully help. Final positive thing I bought was the 360 camera. I just picked up like a week or 2 ago. You can take photos or videos 360 degrees. And the reason I bought this was because I used to do a lot of this kind of live action integration with animation, and I really, really enjoy that. I've been wanting to get back to it, and if you are interested in seeing those kinds of videos, those are coming soon in a big way, because that's kind of what I got this for. I got this so I could grab HDR images wherever I am. That's all coming soon. I haven't had it long enough to know if it was like a great purchase, but I'm very, very excited about it, and I've been thinking about buying it for like 2 years. Now, the part you're probably here to see, the worst purchases of 2020. Some of them, they aren't bad, they just weren't right for me, and others were just bad. So, jumping in. The first thing is actually an eye tracker. The way this works is you stick it to your monitor and then it tracks where you're looking on the screen and shows, say your viewers on Twitch, for example, what it is you're looking at. But I thought if I was reviewing animation, you'd be able to see what is it catching my attention. If you're showing me your shot and I'm supposed to be looking at the left, but I'm looking over here for some reason, well, clearly there's too much motion here or whatever. So I thought it'd be really cool to analyze animation and things like that. Anyways, I really liked it, but the problem is because I use a Cintiq and an ultra-wide monitor, it doesn't have anywhere to go. Like I can't stick it to a Cintiq because I'm gonna bump it as I use my arm to draw. And on the other monitors, the curved ultra-wide, it's a straight thing. It doesn't have anywhere to like, it needs to adhere, but there's a distance, like it can't actually, it doesn't work. Because I don't have any normal monitors, I don't have anywhere to put it. So I think I spent like 150 bucks on this thing and I can't, it just sits in the closet because I can't do anything with it. So that was kind of a stupid purchase for me. Even though I really liked the idea of it, I just did. Worst purchase number 2, this one sucked. This was literally like the most money that got sucked out of our accounts that was just so stupid this entire year, and I'm still mad about it. Our lease, the last apartment in LA, was up, I think February or March. I think it ended in March. We were actually thinking of moving somewhere else. We wanted to go look at another, we didn't know we'd move to Austin. That wasn't the plan. We were gonna move somewhere else in LA. Right when we were getting ready to go start looking, everything shut down. no way to go view other apartments. They hadn't even figured out the virtual stuff yet. Like, we didn't have any options. So we had to renew our lease. And then shortly after, like a month or two later, we decided to move across the country. So not only did we renew our lease and get into a new contract and then pay a couple more months in very expensive rent, we then had to pay a lease breaking fee. God, it was so expensive. Like literally we paid like, oh, how much did we pay? I think we had to pay like $8,000 or $9,000 for the lease break fee. And that was like everything I had in savings at the time. Like that was all the money that I'd been like saving up. So that sucked. Next is actually related to my Cintiq. Now the Cintiq itself, the drawing monitor, right here, you can kind of see it. The drawing monitor that I use every day, I love it. I actually really like it, and it was expensive as heck for sure. It works great. I don't have any issues with it. Except when I did. I did have one issue. When I was streaming, at one point, this little remote, express key remote thing, the little hotkeys, this just magnetizes to the left and the right side. When I was streaming, for some reason, I like bumped it. And not even hard, I just kind of bumped this and it fell off and it wouldn't stick back on. The magnet inside the screen that faces and like sticks to this had fallen and flipped or something like that because it wouldn't stick to the left. It'd stick to the right, so it wasn't this, it was the screen. I had to send it in for repairs. Wacom is a huge company. I spent $2,000, maybe $3,000 on this device and like $400 or $500 on the arm because I have the flex arm behind it holding it up. They don't offer free shipping for the return, which I think is just nuts. They will ship it back to you at no cost, but to send it to them in the first place, like you spend all this money and you buy the thing and then you use it for work and then something happens to it that's like not really your fault and they have to fix it, and that's like part of the promise of their warranties, like they will fix it for you. You have to then pay, I think I paid like $260 to send this device to them. I didn't have it for like 2.5 weeks. I actually had to turn down a few opportunities because I couldn't. Doesn't matter. And then they sent it back, and they actually sent it back without the power cable. They sent the power cable a few days later when I asked them for it. For a giant company like that to not just offer free shipping, that was, in my opinion, I'm salty about it. I think it's crazy because they can. They absolutely can. There are many smaller companies I've dealt with that do offer free returns on much less expensive stuff. So Wacom, love your products, but your return shipping policy needs some work. Speaking of returns, I actually bought something from Amazon and then I sent it back because it's bad. The StarTech 4K KVM switch. A KVM switch, if you've never heard of one, is a little device that allows you to plug two different computers into this device and plug it into one monitor or one set of monitors, keyboard, mouse, all that stuff. You just kind of consolidate with like one user experience that can tap into both computers, right? I got used to having a KVM when I was at DreamWorks. I used to have a Windows and a Linux machine because at DreamWorks, most of the production software works on Linux. And things like Photoshop and Substance and stuff that doesn't have a Linux version, I had Windows. So I needed to have two different computers for software compatibility at DreamWorks. And I had a Cintiq and all that stuff. So I had a KVM at work that I could very quickly just go back and forth. It was seamless, that's my point. But when I got the StarTech one and I would switch between my two computers at home, I would hit the button and all of the monitors and all the peripherals, everything would like disconnect and then like recalibrate, and then all my windows were like reset. And then I was on the other computer and I was like, oh geez, do my work, go back, does it all over again. It actually would drop the signal all the time. My colors would invert and get all kinds of weird. Like it was just a really buggy little box. So I ended up switching to an A10 KVM, way better. And finally, the last bad purchase is actually something that in theory I like, but it's just kind of one of the worst purchases I made this year. It's actually these LIFX beams, not these things on top, they're cool. These beams, which I think, yeah, right here. These are LIFX beams. It's like 1, 2, 3 blocks. I'll show you. So it's these, they're just individual little light sticks and they connect to your Wi-Fi and you can change the colors. They're actually very cool and they're not as expensive as some of the competing brands. The problem is they are such a pain to connect to the internet. So I usually just leave these as white and I don't touch them because to get them to connect to the app and then adjust them, such a pain in the butt. So kind of one of the worst purchases because half the ones I have are just sitting in a box still. But similar to those actually are my RGB lights, the colored blue and yellow lights that you see here. They have this little remote and I mean, to be honest, they're cheap. They were like a $20 or $30 lights. They're great functionally, but they're also some of the worst lights I have because if I change my camera settings, they strobe terribly. See this here? See these color stripes behind me? these lights aren't actually putting out a blue light and an orange light. They are flickering between like red and green to make orange. They work great if you're on a budget, but they're also some of the worst lighting equipment I have, and they get hot. They make my room very, very warm. So I need to figure out a better RGB lighting situation that hopefully doesn't cost a fortune, because those things are expensive. And I actually do have a lot of other things I bought that I do and don't like at various degrees. My Go XLR, I love. I have a microphone I use, but the arm like sucks, and it broke, and I had to DIY like Home Depot fix it myself because this thing broke off it actually broke my old desk. Anyways, if you want to talk about any of this stuff or ask questions, jump into my live streams twice a week. Links down below for that. And if you want to check out any of the other stuff I use, I'll put a link to my studio tour video down below. And of course, a link to everything in this video can be found in the description as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was fun. Got a little taste of what, stuff I spent my money on this year that was good, and some that just kind of wasn't. But I'd love to know from you, what were some of the best and worst things you bought this year? I'm super curious to find out what you guys are getting, liking, not liking, so drop a comment down below, or feel free to jump in the Discord. We've got over 7,000 artists in the Discord, so get some feedback on your work and be part of the community. And if you stuck around this long, a fun little tidbit of information for you. I'm going to be working on some animation classes and a dailies review program to get your work reviewed and stuff. All of that's gonna be happening on my Patreon, so check out the link down below. Later this week or next week, if you're watching this when it's uploaded, there's gonna be some new stuff that I know you guys are gonna be really, really excited about, so keep an eye on the Patreon for that, or come hang out on Twitch and ask me questions about it. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.